started playing music when I was like 4 or 5 years older. I started taking violin lessons with this like old lady in my community, and she taught me for about a year or two. And at the time, Guitar Hero was becoming a very popular video game. I got inspired with the guitar and a little bit disillusioned with the violin as I played more and more Guitar Hero, and I was ready to rock at that point. So that's when I started playing guitar, and then things kind of took off from there. I did play a year of trumpet in the middle school band, and I did do percussion as well in the middle school band. And the percussion kind of stuck with me, but the trumpet didn't at all whatsoever. So then in I believe this was in 8th grade, I went to a concert that Buddy Guy, who's like this legendary blues musician, held in my hometown in Charlotte. And I saw him play, and I thought he was absolutely amazing and incredible, and he really wowed me. And then it was my brother's bedtime, around like, I don't know, 9, like halfway through the concert. And so my parents were like, we gotta go, we gotta leave the concert, your brother is getting sleepy, he doesn't want to be here anymore. I was like, okay, fine. And so we started to walk out. And at the same time, or I guess no, we decided to walk out when Buddy Guy was like taking this insane like victory lap solo around the entire auditorium, and we were like, this is our chance. Like he's off the stage, everybody's like out of their seats and looking for him. Let's just like skedaddle out of here. And so we kind of walked out like the back door, and then ran into him while we were walking out, and he looked at me and he was like, do you play guitar? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, do you want to come on stage and play with me? And I was like, in my head, I was like, fuck yeah, I want to come on stage and play with you. But in my head, I was also like, damn, like, I don't know if I'm just going to get up there and embarrass myself. And so I was like, no. It stemmed from a place of like deep insecurity about like how good I was. And so after that, I kind of like made a vow to myself to like get good enough to where if I was ever in a position like that again, which is like obviously never going to happen, but I could, like feel comfortable going on stage and like shredding with a legend like Buddy Guy. And so that like really inspired me to get like super heavy into music. And then in college, I started another band with a couple friends at the beginning of this year, at the beginning of last year, my freshman year. And that is now Falling Walrus. And I also recently just put out my first new single, which is really exciting, that I produced with my friend Jack that I met at Brown. And so Brown has like given me all these really cool new music connections that have helped me continue to develop myself as an artist. I think like the collaboration in a band is something that I definitely miss in solo work, but I'd also like to note that like my solo work is not necessarily solo work in that I like collaborate with a lot of people. It can appear on the outside looking in like a lonely road of like, oh, I'm like writing the songs all by myself and producing and like putting out the songs all by myself, but it's not necessarily true because I have a lot of help along the way. I think inevitably, like part of this question is like, who is it about? Which like, I don't know, I don't really think I should disclose. But to your point, or to your question about like, I guess like drawing from experiences. A lot of my songs start out with like a brief spur of inspiration. That experience usually like forms kind of like the core of what like a specific song will be. But then like I add a lot of like different experiences. And so generally like when I write songs, it's not about like one specific thing, one specific moment. I find that really hard to do, to create and craft like an entire song worth of lyrics about like just one thing. And I find it a little bit easier to draw from like multiple different experiences to make something that's like kind of auto-fiction, kind of creative nonfiction, somewhere in between the two. It's been, especially like not going through a label, not going through like a manager or a promoter or like any like PR, anything, was like super difficult to navigate for me. Like particularly because this was my first release. The way that I initially started to navigate it was I reached out to people who had already released music, and luckily I have like a few contacts that friends and family members who have done similar things in the past, and so they gave me some really, really good advice about kind of like where to start and where to look and which sources and sites to look at. And what's great is that there's a ton of really cool resources out there to help get your music out. So I was lucky enough to have direction there, and I was directed to places like Submit Hub, and so I used that to help promote it. But honestly, I found the most success, at least judging by like the Spotify for Artists like statistics page that I get to see, just by like word of mouth, and having friends and family like shout stuff out on Instagram, and like telling people. I think that without that, it wouldn't have been as much of as like surprising of a success to me personally. I think I would definitely choose Tom Misch because, or like Wolfpack at Madison Square Garden. Oh my God, that'd be so sick. Realistically, this is a question that I struggle with actually a lot, because like I'm studying at Brown, and I'm not only studying music at Brown, like there are other things that I want to do. I'm thinking of like concentrating in like CS Econ. And so it's totally possible for me to just be like, oh, I want to do this as a hobby, and be like pre-professional, and I don't know. And that like makes me a little bit sad to feel like I'm gonna maybe end up like giving up this dream that I've had for a long time. Especially now that I'm starting to take more legit steps towards like what it actually looks like to like be a professional musician, whatever that means in like today's day and age, like a professional indie musician, I guess, which is like an oxymoron. um, I think I'm starting to get there, and I think like this year I'm planning on putting out more music. I want to put out another single in like April-ish, and then another one hopefully towards the end of the summer, and then I want to kind of wrap it all up with like an EP either in the fall or the winter, but all before 2022. So I'm starting, I think with this recent release, I'm starting to more seriously actualize these dreams that I've had for a while, and I think I'm like starting to consider more seriously what like a legit career in music could look like going forward.